Thank you so much for joining me today for the Interviewing Techniques Answering Interview Questions workshop. I'm Priscilla Pham, a senior at NKU, and I'm a peer career coach at Career Services, where I conduct mock interviews and job search appointments. Career Services is in the University Center 225. We are excited to help you with your career related concerns. You can reach out to the office to set up in person or online appointments via handshake, email, or phone using the information on the screen. At Career Services, we have handouts and guides to assist you in your career related goals, including resume preparation guide, cover letter and job search letters guide, interviewing guide, and more. These guides can be found right outside the Career Services office in the University Center or on the Career Services website. This interviewing guide specifically describes the types of interviews you may encounter, what employers want, how to prepare for the interview, and what to do after the interview. There are also simple questions to help you hone in on your interviewing skills. Much of the information we'll be covering in this workshop today can be found in the interviewing guide. So, why do employers interview? Interviewing allows you to expand on the experiences in your resume and provide information not in it, such as your personality or oral communication skills. It also addresses concerns that negate the risk of hiring someone and it does not work out. Hiring costs the organization time and money, and they want to make sure that they hire someone who will be committed to and able to complete the role. The interview can also be used to assess value added. What can a candidate add to the organization, and what would the candidate gain from this role? This emphasizes the importance of asking the employer questions at the end of the interview. Preparing for interviews is important for your success and confidence. Start with knowing yourself. Reflect on your experiences, strengths, values, and interests that you will bring to the organization. Think about concrete examples that would display each. It's also important to consider how this position fits into your short and long-term goals. Marketing yourself well during interviews is another essential part. Ensure that your resume is in good shape, free of errors, and that your LinkedIn is a representative of you and your professional presence. If you are not sure, email or call Career Services to get them reviewed. You also need to research the organization that you are interviewing with. You should research the organization's products, services, and values on their websites. There are some great resources to research, such as Handshake, Google, and LinkedIn. So today we're going to review different types of questions that you will get during an interview, including open-ended, specific directive, and behavioral questions. But before we get into these types of questions, an important part that I want to mention is small talk. Although it may not be seen as an official part of the interview, the interview starts as soon as you enter the place of work. Interacting with the front desk assistant is also seen as part of the interview. Being aware of the recent happenings will ease your nerves when it comes to small talk. Examples can be current events, sports, and the weather. Make sure that you keep a positive and enthusiastic attitude. So there are 3 types of questions that you will normally be asked in an interview: open-ended, directive, and behavioral question. Let's start with the first type, open-ended or non-directive questions. These questions are broad and usually help the interviewer know you as a person and as a potential employee. There are some examples of this question, such as, tell me about yourself. What are your greatest strengths or weaknesses? Where are you interested in working for the company? Or where do you see yourself in 5 years? Tell me about yourself is a very common question in every interview. To answer this question, there's an acronym called EEP that we use in Career Services. It stands for Education, Experiences, and Passion. In terms of education, answer how your education has prepared you for this position. Consider including your majors, minors, specific courses or class projects. Try to elaborate on the skills and knowledge you've gained. The next part is experiences. Consider including your past jobs, internships or co-ops, volunteer work, undergraduate research, or organizational involvement. Talk about and elaborate on them as they relate to the position. And last but not least, passion. Talk about what drew you into your major. what interests you about the career field or position, and share your short-term and long-term career goals. So here's an example of how to answer this question. I am a senior at Northern Kentucky University with a major in communication studies and 3 minors in marketing, sports business and event management, and sales. Throughout my coursework, I've taken numerous interesting and helpful classes and also done a lot of group projects that have enhanced my teamwork, communication, and problem-solving skills. In addition to my education, I'm also currently serving as a partnership activation game day intern for FC Cincinnati, where I assist with game day promotional items at Get Suites, signage tracking, interact with fans, and take care of halftime promotions. During my time here, I've learned how to multitask in a fast-paced environment. In this role, I have learned that I have a passion for working in sports marketing and partnership activation. Another example of an open-ended question is, what are your greatest strengths? To answer this question, prepare 3 to 5 strengths that you have and elaborate a little on each of them. Here's an example of how to answer this question. One of my strengths is the ability to adapt quickly and be flexible. In my current role as a partnership activation game day intern for FC Cincinnati, my main responsibility is to track the signage and ensure the visibility of the partners. At the same time, I need to be the representative of the team to answer questions from fans and interact with them before, during, and after the game. Because sports games are always fast and unpredictable, I need to adapt and adjust myself according to specific situations such as certain time frame or weather changes, which helps me become very flexible at work. Similarly, to answer questions about your weaknesses, list and elaborate on them. Talk about how you are working to keep the weakness from hindering your work. Here's an example of the answer. One of my weaknesses is my inability to say no. I love to have others and find myself oftentimes overcommitting myself and not being able to fully present at everything I commit to. I've improved this by keeping a detailed planner and truly weighing each opportunity that is presented to me. This has allowed me to be more intentional with how I use my time. Specific directive questions are focused, straightforward, and related to the job. Some examples are, which computer programming languages do you have experience using? What software are you familiar with? Or what is your teaching philosophy? They allow you to showcase what you've learned and how you can apply to the role. Just like when answering other interview questions, you want to make sure that you are being honest in your answer and that you are fully answering the question. It is great if when answering these questions, you can provide a story that demonstrates or illustrates your point. The last type of question we'll be examining are behavioral questions. These are important as they help the employer understand your past behaviors, to predict your future behaviors by asking for specific and real examples. They require much thought of previous experiences that you've had, so practicing behavioral questions is an important step in preparing for an interview. At Career Services, we use the acronym called CAR to help you answer behavioral questions. The C stands for context or the background of the specific situation, such as a class project, job position, and duties that were required of you during the situation. The A stands for action. What actions did you take to push the situation forward? And the R stands for results, which is the most important section as it shows the employer the results of the situation due to your actions and what you took away from this. An example of a behavioral question is, describe a time when you dealt with a difficult customer. A typical answer might be, I currently work in a restaurant, and we have difficult customers all the time that I serve. But this will not make you stand out amongst other interviewees. A better response would use a CAR method. And here's an example. In my current job as a barista at Starbucks, I was a cashier one morning when a customer was very upset that the coffee he got earlier that day wasn't hot. I listened to his concerns and apologized for his trouble. I promptly got him a new cup of coffee, which was very hot, and told my manager, who also refunded the customer's money. The customer seemed satisfied with the response and returned every week. Sometimes there are less than ideal results, and it's completely fine. Don't let that discourage you. Answer truthfully and talk about what you've learned and how you would do things differently in the future. Let's look at an example of this using the same question as before. Let's imagine you've never seen the customer again. This doesn't mean that you can't use a similar answer. Here's the answer adjusted to illustrate how the student learned from this experience. In my current job as a barista at Starbucks, I was a cashier one morning when a customer was very upset that the coffee he got earlier that day wasn't hot. I listened to his concerns and apologized for his trouble. I promptly got him a new cup of coffee, which was very hot, and told my manager, who also refunded the customer's money. Since this encounter, each time someone orders coffee, I press the cup to my wrist to ensure it is hot before I hand it to the customer, as I want to ensure that another customer doesn't have the same negative experience. It is critical to prepare for each interview that you have. Here are some great ways to prepare for your interview to help you secure the position. You could write an outline of your answers. By doing outside research on sites such as Handshake or LinkedIn about the company and what questions could be asked, you'll be able to brainstorm possible answers for each. Practicing with a friend or family member will allow you to practice public speaking and to answer those questions out loud. I recommend using Interview Prep, which is available on the Career Services website. It allows you to answer questions through a video format and to then go back and listen to your answers and learn how you can improve. You can also receive feedback on Interview Prep. Another option would be to schedule a mock interview to gain more practice. In a mock interview, we design custom questions to ask you and simulate a real interview. Following the interview, we will provide you with detailed feedback about your answers. If you have any questions or anything from interview to job search and resume reviews, you can reach out to Career Services. Thank you so much for listening to the Interviewing Techniques Answering Interview Questions workshop. If there's anything that we can assist you with, please do not hesitate to connect with us at Career Services. Thank you again.